Welcome to the 10th edition of the Meyer Memos. Today is November 3rd, 2016. We have a PBIS meeting on Monday at 8 o'clock in the conference room. We also have an ISST meeting, our first one for the year, on Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the conference room. We have our first child to discuss. And then in place of our staff meeting, our BLT team is meeting Tuesday in my office at 8 o'clock as well. Monitoring lunch. Staff, please remember that when you're in the lunchroom that you're always watching the students as they eat and looking for hands to help with if they need to go and get a fork or spoon or whatnot. We had a student who was choking this week, and fortunately Mr. Hauer was aware of it and ended up giving the child the Heimlich and pop out some chicken. We were very fortunate that that happened. The really cool thing is the next day I saw the student. The student came up to me and said, Mr. Meyer, I took smaller bites today. So the student learned from it, and kudos to Mr. Hauer for being aware of the situation. Patty Bowling is our new technology paraprofessional. Patty will be starting on Monday, and she's previously working at Normandale Hills. Her last day will be tomorrow there. So when Patty arrives Monday, please welcome her. In instruction, I'm asking that we make some data updates. PLCs, some of our teams have not submitted their team goals, their PLC goals, and I'd like for them to be located in the Google Docs and place them in there by next Friday, November 11th. That gives teams a whole week to come up with their goals, as well as another PLC time on Thursday. In addition, it's important that the PLCs are placing their agendas in there in the Google Doc. I use that to stay tuned in to what PLCs are doing, and then I can check in with each team. Lastly, the BAS. We just completed the BAS, and I'd like for all teachers to submit their guided reading level. We have some people that have not done that, but there's a lot more people that still need to get that in. So please do that. I'd like to have that done by the end of the week. I know that pretty much they're done. You just have to submit them. Learning supports. We did a Spanish-speaking student survey with you as well as with the parents. Emma contacted families and kind of walked them through the survey, and then staff took the survey themselves in a Google form. And here are the results of the parent report. This is very interesting. Parents said that they don't have a clear idea of their child's proficiency level, or more specific of how far they are from being at grade level. Remember, folks, we want to be sensitive to families, but also try and be as clear as you can, then help them understand where their child is. If they're a grade level, 2 grade levels below, it's important that they understand it, and then share with them how we are going to help them get to grade level. But this was one of the big golden nuggets for the parent report. So please be aware of this when we're at conferences, that we're clear with the parents. They also said they completely trust the teachers. They feel that they are doing a great job. Kudos to you. That's awesome. And then with the information they get at conference time, they don't feel their children are in a bad situation. They feel like they're doing well. Parents are doing their part in ensuring that children are doing their homework and motivating them to do well at school. They have a great expectation for their child, and they said that the children have a lot of potential, they like school, and they want to do well. So remember to continue to have high expectations for them and help families understand where they're at. On the other side of things, this is the teacher report from the survey. So we asked what were some common barriers, and you stated homework. Kids are somewhat not doing it sometimes, or it's not clear. The communication, we wish that that could be more clear. And then some kids are struggling with attendance. Strengths. They feel that the students and the families are supportive, feel like the students or families are hardworking, and that they have high respect for the teachers. Now, some of the stuff you can see maybe contradicts a little bit, but again, I'm just grabbing little snippets. Here, This is what staff said is working. Having someone to translate, that was very beneficial. Utilizing the cultural liaison with Hema and some of the other folks. And then talking about vocabulary and helping the kids understand, because that's a big piece, the content and vocabulary. So it's important that we utilize those units of study and utilize those supports that you see in the units of study for our ESL students. And we'll talk more about that in the future, but don't forget about those supports in the units of study. And then what we wish as a staff, we wish that the parents would work with their child, because a lot of them say that they make sure their homework is done, but they're not necessarily working with them. And that they go over their homework with them, and that the communication could be stronger. And then we asked, would staff want a newsletter that would be written by Hema and Amy and Jill? And 6 out of 7 said yes. Now, what would be our next steps? Well, one is be clear with proficiency levels at conferences or anytime you're communicating with families. Try to be straight and to the point and help them understand and tell them what you're going to do to help their child to be successful. We are going to write a monthly communicator to families and possibly may turn it into a screencast. I was working with Hema on that. She was kind of intrigued about making a screencast for families, and she would do it in Spanish for us. Thought that was pretty cool. And then, as always, we're going to solicit feedback from both parties, that being the staff and the families. Well, I thank you for another great week, and I wish you a wonderful weekend, and thank you for all of your work.